And here we have, in my opinion, something sparkling right away. Look, silver. Yes, all the hallmarks are there. We need to pick it up. Flea market time, guys. Finally the season is reopening. So join me for adventure and let's pick up some treasure today. That's right, friends. After a long-awaited lull, we're seek you to open the antique hunting season. Flea markets, all sorts of antique markets. Everything according to plan. I'm happy. I love the beginning of this season because the most interesting things are yet to come. So let's search together. Here we have such a cellar right off the bat. Lots of interesting stuff. A good Ronson ladder, but unfortunately it's not working. We have Striker. Look, they dump such a mountain of coins. Unlikely, of course, there are some rare coins there. They're asking £80 for it, which is quite a reasonable price. Here we have table lighters made of natural stone. And here's this porcelain, painted blue. Someone told me in the comments what it's called. But honestly, I don't remember. This jug is okay, well, I really like this teapot. You probably saw it at the beginning of the video. Yes, judging by the hallmarks, it's silver plated. But there's one thing. Now let's find out the price.
How much for a teapot? What's that say? Yeah.
£12.
£12.
Very good, mate. Google him. Very worth Google.
Would you do 10?
10, go on then.
Yeah.
Yes, friends, they wanted £12 for this teapot. We negotiated and got it for 10. It's silver plated. But there's one thing. I'll be sure to tell you about it at the end of the video when I review the finds. So the tray has seen some use, but what do you think? Maybe it's Melchior. It would be really cool to find a silver one like that. And over there, he also has a box with watches. Let's look. There are obviously all sorts of old watches, maybe not the most famous brands, but all the watches in that box are £5 each. As I told you in the last video, if you're interested, I can buy some of these and make mystery boxes, so-called surprise boxes, and we'll sell them on Telegram. Then look, there's a second limit. Whatever you want. Okay, and here we have Elizabeth II's penny for 5. And again, look, brooches, all kinds of jewelry for £2. Again, going back to these prize boxes, I can also buy and sell mystery boxes like these. Naturally, there will probably be more with watches for a male audience and for a female audience, of course, with brooches and jewelry. So it's all in development. Be sure to let me know what you think of this idea.
They look nice.
We'll work on it then. Yes, our spoon is simply silver plated. I took it to look, but the seller beat me to it. I didn't even have to check it. He said right away that it was silver plated. Nothing valuable. Strange marketing, of course. He could, of course, since sellers usually advertise them somehow, right? Wait, here we have ceramics. Look, with this X, like two swords, like mason jar. What do you... They want £15 for this vessel. It's a shame, of course, that the lid is missing. I assume it's a soup tureen. The seller has all sorts of little things. Keychains, watches, but everything is that, but we have Royal Downtown tall mugs, a fisherman's mug, and here, look, what a beautiful jug. St. George. A whole bunch, of course, a whole bunch of little things. A parrot. It's unclear what some kind of cutouts are for. Maybe we should put some flowers. Dobby. This porcelain vase.
£10 for the whole lot, lad. This jewellery I'll put in.
Yes, the seller said everything on his table is for £10. So he's selling the vase for 10 too. Yes, a lot, of course, a ton of things. What kind of boat do we have? Look here, the wall plates are £3 each. The small ones are £2. And these cognac glasses, of course, are pretty crystal. We have a set there for £25, that is. 2 glasses. And Toby mugs from Royal Danton are £12 for him. And here, look at some really small ones. This is our Aramis from the Musketeers. So look, this big vase, he's asking £50 for it. Gorgeous, of course. It will definitely find its place in a big house. What figurines? We have a porcelain dog like this for £15. Yes, we have it. I thought it was a piano, our music box. We started at a flea market in Chelmsford, friends, and came to a small collector's gathering. Bon night though. Everything is right on the road, which is good. Oh look, we have both CDs and vinyl here. Botham Russ, Madman, Arslan John, SN. Data for a Sting record, but with vinyl, I think that's about right. The more popular the artist, the higher the price, of course. For less popular ones, their records for £2 and £3. And just look at the scale here. Look at that rabbit in motion. Those are some figures, right? I really love tables like these with little things. You can rummage around a bit and have a look. Look, all sorts of watches are here. Yes, the watch theme I think will be very popular. I know many collectors, many of whom love this theme. So I think watch boxes would definitely be a hit. Also, look at those big jewelry boxes. So we have quartz written there, most likely watches. Yes, look, these onta. But the display there looks wet. Oh. So it might need repairing. Yes, it looked like anitar, but it's some kind of stone. By the way, these green beads are quite beautiful. And we have all sorts of metals there. Yeah. Look at those dragons we have. The figurines are absolutely gorgeous. He's selling for £35 each. Langan. And where are the watches? Someone already took the watch. Or maybe he's just selling the empty box, which is also possible. Oh, by the way, that's a cool sign. Yes, for Zippo collectors. Like a license plate for a car. The watches there, of course, aren't cheap for the display case. But they're beautiful. I'd certainly like to buy something like that at a price below market. It's not really worth buying off market, maybe for your own collection. So look here, what a fox, parrots, dogs, the whole set. The whole set. And someone asked me how much for a watch like this. £58 for the box. Yeah, I thought that was the whole set. But here, look, £58 for the box and £38 for the watch. You guys can add it up yourselves if you're interested. Yes, but someone asked me in the comments, so if anyone needs it, that's roughly the price to aim for. I don't think there are any problems with shipping watches worldwide. These aren't lighters. Lighters, unfortunately, don't pass customs here. How many have you tried sending? Unfortunately, not a single. One has passed. Yeah, that's £38 here. That's just me. Yeah, I don't even think about it. I know we have that series of ashtrays. I have seen similar ones. They're called double-sided. Look at those beads with those stones. They're serious. I will show you. So, £28. No, that's not even silver plated. It's a little vessel. Mantle clock, all sorts of beautiful. Wait. Okay, I've met this seller before. He sometimes has the Soviet things. Look, a Luch watch. Okay, I shook it, but it doesn't look like it's mechanical. It's probably battery powered. He's asking £35 for it. I think that's a pretty good price. And look, he even has medals here. Orders of the Patriotic War, but damn. With those medals, it's certainly dangerous. I've seen similar copies sold on AliExpress for £5 or £6, so it's dangerous to buy. Partagar, by the way, is also Soviet with a space theme, but it's made of really thin aluminum. The Seine can, the 52nd anniversary of October. And here, look, what an interesting medal. Glory to the Great October. Quite an unusual one. I've never seen one like that
Sorry,
before.
how much is this one?
He's asking 15 pounds for it.
Did you do 10? Yep.
Yeah, I offered him 10, so I'm taking it. I'll show you a closer look at the end of the video. It's quite an interesting little thing. So, well, friends, the question is this a schnauzer? But again, it's small. We need one that's at least 12 centimeters tall, so even if it is a schnauzer, unfortunately, that's not the Zeiss we're looking for. What's so interesting here? We have all sorts of India here, a sitting Buddha. Some heads, like candlesticks or something. Yeah, lots of all sorts of interesting little things. I think you have the same, right? You walk around, look at these counters, and think that you don't even know what half the things are for. That's the whole mystery of these flea markets, antique fairs, and bazaars. Look, who do you think it is? Some Frenchman, I think. Forever immortalized in a metal case. This 65 pounds, but quite look such interesting watches. They have a really thick dial. Yes, well, the prices, I'll tell you, as usual, yes, at these antique fairs, they are very, very high compared, of course, to the local flea markets. But you won't find such exclusive items at the local flea markets. We have this Soviet submarine badge for 14 pounds. Well, here we have treasures already. Silver. Silver is at its peak price. Here, well, at the moment as you watch the video, silver, of course, has already started to fall in price. But at the time this video was filmed, silver was, I think, somewhere around 70 pounds an ounce. As of today, I think it's already fallen as low as 52. Which is pretty good. It's a good time to buy on the downside, so if you're investing, just like gold has fallen in price now, now is the time. Will it go lower? You never know, but if you're investing, the golden rule is invest at the bottom, sell at the top. We have a gorgeous tea set here. Look. Beautiful. They want 25 pounds for that set. Yes, some of the sellers here even have shelves right there on the tables, look, with all these beautiful sets of tea sets. If I were that seller, I'd be a little nervous. Someone would tip the table just a little, and all these beautiful shelves with all this stuff would come crashing down. I've seen this scene more than once, especially at large collector gatherings at those big antique fairs. Due to the strong winds, which are not uncommon in England. Our stands often blew away, and of course there was little that could be saved. And there were thousands of goods. Look, he has all sorts of pillboxes, but he does have a lot of beautiful tea sets. One literally beats the other. So what do we have here? It looks like an axe on one side, but it's more likely some kind of work of art, most likely. Look at those cats. By the way, no one wants figurine cats. We already have an order for a schnauzer, so maybe someone needs cats. Cats are, of course, more common. A few interesting lighters. Quite simple. I already have most of the ones shown in my collection. We also have an Imco here. In one of my previous videos, someone told me to be careful with Austrian Imco lighters. There are a lot of modern knockoffs. I completely agree with you. They are also Chinese markets. I mean, actually say, you can't, apart from the original. So it's better to choose one that looks older. Or of course, if yours is original with all the documentation and box, then that's a different matter. In perfect condition, it looks luxurious. Yes, these are truly magnificent products. Well, like these barometers, I think no one is buying them anymore, and the prices for them are skyrocketing. Not exactly cheap.
We have an inkwell for £20.
So,
Yes, we have a rather unusual inkwell, to be honest. I haven't seen anything like it yet. So this lighter is certainly more interesting. R. So this is an RS lighter.
What would be your best price?
I can't do anything under 10.
Yeah. Okay, I'll have it for
Nice
10.
place.
Yeah.
Yes, I got it for £10. Quite an interesting. At the end of the video, don't forget, as always, there will be a review of all the finds, so don't hesitate, friends, and watch until the end. We'll take a closer look at everything there. Yes, look, the shell casings, they're for £10-20. We have a plaque. So I like this from the Navy for £10. Here we have these little porcelain boxes. And here we have watches in boxes. Well, yes, this is completely not what we need at all. And here, look, a set for £30. This is already from Royal Mint. The sets are collectible, but we don't have precious metals. We just have collectible coins. As you know, I collect coins, preferably made of precious metals. I already have several in my collection, not counting investment coins. 2 Latvian silver, 5 Lats coins. This season, I hope to have a few more. Then I'll definitely add to my collection of coins from the Baltics and European countries in general before the start of WWII. My plan
so to speak, to focus more narrowly for now. And then, when I've gotten a bit more experience in numismatics, I'll figure it out, and then naturally, I'll expand. These piracy knives are mostly first between 10 and 25. Well, the blades aren't the best either, as they tend to. So here we have American coins. So wooden elephants for 15 pounds. What are they for? That's a question, of course. Some kind of Indian theme, most likely. Yes, there are silver pincushions. 2. Collectors who collect such things. Pincushions and matchboxes.
I'm into politics.
So here we have heart-to-heart talks about politics. We're not very interested in that. We're more interested in this seller's wares. Look, he has an iron shield here and knightly boots.
How much your lighter?
Also, I noticed that Dan Hell on his desk. I'll show you around closer. He wants 75 pounds for it. Let me tell you right away, friends, this is the market price. You can even sometimes snag one from 60-65 on eBay. What? So if it were in the original box, 75 would be no problem. I'd grab it right away. And without the box, we can buy it for less. So the cigar ashtray is quite nice. By the way, for those watching my video for the first time, I also collect cigar ashtrays. But this one, although nice, is a little, as the English say, out of my budget even in Effen. A bit pricey. And here, look who can answer the question of what this is. I assume it's a rather unusual smoking pipe. We have an alligator on its back. Huh? You saw the price tag yourself, 120 pounds. It's clearly old, but really very cool. Thus we finished with the collector's rally. We've already arrived at the Swanley Flea Market. As you can see, the weather has cleared up, the rain has stopped. Now we'll go around. This is also our first flea market this season.
Come on, we're here. How are you? Family good?
Now we'll be looking, searching for something interesting.
It's meant to be last week. But
Yes, you see, even the sellers are saying that. This flea market was supposed to open last week. Yeah. But for some reason, it was postponed. It was postponed because the ground was still too wet from the winter season. And all the cars would have simply gotten stuck here. So the flea market was postponed, but the ground dried out. And today it's already full of sellers. So look here, Bulgaria, a medal.
how much is the medal, mate?
5 pounds. Yes, he doesn't know what it's for, but I'm sure he's already Googled it and scanned it.
Would you do any better than 5?
4, that's the best, 'cause
Yeah.
really, scraps. I want to scrap it. Not fair.
Yeah, how the fuck?
How you doing? Good?
Yes, he wanted 5 pounds. I asked what his best price was. He said he'll give it to me for 4, so he took it for 4. I'll show it at the end of the video in case anyone wants it. This is a Bulgarian one, I assume. for graduating from some university. Maybe when they graduate with a gold medal. The medal isn't gold, of course, but I seriously doubt they give you a real gold medal when you graduate from university if you did well. So yes, at the end of the video, we'll see what kind of medal this is. Oh, and maybe someone watching from Bulgaria can even tell us in the comments. Our collectible shot glasses here are also more automotive themed. Well, what kind of watches do we have here? Okay, we have these Limit or Lilith ones. They're quite common at English flea markets. This particular brand is also available. Is this Avic or Avio? And look at these Royal London ones in the box.
So how much are your watches?
All different prices. That's a fiver.
Yep.
They're £1 each, and that's £2.
Yes, the ones are £5 and the others are £1. I think those are pretty good prices, especially if we're talking about the mystery boxes, which I've mentioned several times before. By the way, be sure to let me know in the comments what you think of these watches. Would you like them in mystery boxes? Or should I look for something older? Well, naturally then too, you see, yes, older ones are more expensive. So the price of the box itself will be higher. Base, we have a Fujitsu film camera and an NN like this. Oh, by the way, it's also film. I thought it was digital, but no. Some kind of slot machine. A wagon. A wagon is a musical one. A musical one. I wanted to call it a music box, but no, more like a musical carousel. See it? Carousel. Well, look, costume jewelry. Again, just one seller going, and he clearly picked up a whole box worth of stuff. Modern stuff, of course, but I'm sure if you rummage around, you'll find something old here, maybe even Victorian. Look at that beautiful blue cameo. We might even have that. So, cufflinks. Our cufflinks aren't silver, but they're mother of pearl. We have mother of pearl. And here's the same seller with music from last season. And here we have a lot of brass items. Look at that trim. Look, it's all falling apart. How can you sell something like that? I put it back together, of course. The seller wants £35 for it, but I didn't look any further, or I felt a little uneasy. Somehow this little boat should have been attached better. Look at these little plates we have. They're pretty, but unfortunately they have no identifying marks. But as I've been told many times, the lack of a mark doesn't mean it's not some old item. So it's all relative. Yes, the seller has a ton of tables, but look, everything is arranged so haphazardly that there really isn't that much merchandise. Look, it's even taking up so much space. 12 tables, and the merchandise could have fit on 3 of them, I think. What bank could me hack? So, well, the old store price tag is £15. It's probably a pretty heavy box. Some kind of small jewelry box. I wonder if he sells one for the same price. And here's this horse we have. Oh, well, unfortunately, it's made of... I thought it would be cast iron, heavy. Wooden isn't as interesting. Look, people here are hunting with carts like these, hunting for treasure, like a cigarette from Dubai. Well, we have all sorts of fin chains here, but that has nothing to do with antiques. Sadly, it has nothing to do with precious metals either. Tin boxes like these with old cars are also waiting for their collector. Look, here's this. I don't even know what to call it, I guess. Tea set, maybe even Turkish. Look, it all looks beautiful, of course. On this tray. Look, there's a vessel for dukes.
How much these?
We'll find out now, by the way.
Have you got inside some more? No, it's just that one.
They wanted £10 for that tray with a teapot and mugs. Another buyer already found out the price for us. And here's a rather heavy watch, but unfortunately, look, there's some kind of marching sound there. But you see, there are some parts running around the dial inside.
Dad, say £8.
Yes, a chain. There's no climate. More like Hallmark. Yes.
Oh, here, Mum. Here. Help me, Mum.
Our cutlery is silver plated. And SPN. Silver plated nickel. Of course, considering this is the first flea market of the season, there's certainly a lot of excitement here today. This was my first time at this flea market, pulling to the parking lot just before it opened. The first time I was stuck in traffic for 20 minutes. Although, usually you can get to this flea market in Swanley without any problems. There are sometimes problems with exiting because of traffic, but to get in and wait 20 minutes... Yes, people are tired of the rain. Apparently everyone was waiting. And, now as I already said, there's a lot of excitement here. Well damn, this little box, this aluminum tin, but it looked like it was made of real tar. Natural stone, this color. Well. So, well look, returning to the topic of jewelry, this box, if you take it all and sell that as a mystery box, what do you think? You can see all sorts of beautiful brooches, all sorts of earrings. Look, all sorts of things. Okay, and here we have a salesperson who's spread out. Right, half of the goods are probably from our trash. There are salespeople who travel because here in England you can take your trash to a special center where it's recycled. And there you can find all sorts of broken equipment that people have taken away. And all sorts of large-scale goods. Or maybe these are the same people, the employees who work at this recycling center. By the way, look at this cool turtle. So they think we have an ashtray like this. Here, the only thing is, I'm not sure if its shell is really made of mother of pearl. At first glance, it looks like it is. And our turtle itself seems to be made of brass.
But the salesperson wants £20 for it. I don't know whether I want one for £20 or not. What do you think?
Look, here are some golf clubs for you. Frying pans and typewriters are interesting. There's even a pink guitar. Yes, well the paintings are certainly beautiful. And this mirror, look. If it suits the interior, it's definitely worth taking. Now this is interesting. Look, we have badges right off the bat. We even have a few Soviet ones. With the only ones, he's selling them all for £2 each. Well, let's see if there are any rare ones. If there are any rare, interesting, heavy ones, we can take them. But we won't take simple ones like these for £2, of course. Yes, there are Soviet ones mixed in with all sorts of English ones. And here again, look, they asked us to show more jewelry, so we have all sorts of rings like these in our net. And these are serious fishing lures, clearly for some big. Now here we have another Japanese tea set with these dragons. We even probably have a complete set here. Tea sets and a sugar bowl. Even a teapot. Jug like this. Well, not really for a teapot, but a teapot jug. This whole thing, this entire set, is selling for £20. Another gorgeous mirror. So this will cost a whopping £50. Let's see why they're asking £50 for someone's old photographs. Interesting. Okay, now this is more interesting. We also have English china. 6 plates like this on a tray. To the touch, I can tell you right away, it's quite thin, fragile, light. And here we have an album with posters. Again, someone's... Yes, but someone's album with old photographs for £50. I think they're going a bit overboard. But it could be an album of some celebrities. Just look at the old chandeliers here. This has clearly been removed from the apartment, from the house. The chest. Someone has already emptied the chest before us. Let's go to this cellar and have a look. Okay, the box is beautiful, but we don't want to buy anything broken. Okay, we don't need solar panels. Well, here are some souvenirs. We have plenty of souvenirs, but this chair, it's pretty unclear what the chair is for. Well, look at this, just for scale. This has clearly been removed. Look how many boxes are here. 3 big minivans just arrived and unloaded everything in these boxes. I've been asked more than once to show you, to go through these boxes. So come on, I'll show you. But I'll warn you right away, there's a lot of broken stuff here. So here we have this old photo printer. Look, it's in the original box. The only thing most best about these printers is these cartridges that the printer forskar. And given that this is a fairly old model, these cartridges are of course no longer produced. Photo printing is of course easier to order online these days. A photo will cost you 5 or 6 pence there, and you'll get it delivered to your home. So of course, it's a bit of a mess now. As I said, you see here, we have a broken mug, albeit a pretty nice one. We have some old prices. I'll tell you right away, prices in these boxes are minimal, starting at £5. These are mostly sellers who deal specifically with this kind of removal and sell it in boxes. These aren't sellers who lay everything on tables and counters, of course. So they price the goods quite reasonably, considering that in most cases they simply rake things out of people's homes, put them in boxes, and bring them straight here and bring straight here. And when they do, naturally they more or less select the most valuable items, while all of the oddities like dishes and decorative items are left behind. They just throw them in boxes. Here are some nice porcelain plates, but you're unlikely to find a pair here. A nice wall plate from 1981 with a little bird like that. Yes, in most cases, of course, it's mostly junk here, but to be honest, it's sellers like these that attract the most people for some reason. So here we have a plate with hole like this, Liberty Blue, American I think, but why the hole in the middle? That's the question. So yes, it's sellers like these that attract the most customers, of course. Look how many people are rummaging around here, because sometimes people try to scoop up something valuable, something the seller didn't notice. Yes, well, you see, look, the mugs, but all of them, in most cases, are of course broken. Yes, the things, of course, at first glance seem unnecessary, but people still pick up something for themselves. They pick up, go, and pay. We also have Christmas tree decorations in boxes. All sorts of old tape recorders. Well, look at how many different mugs there are. But unfortunately, they're all damaged. To put it mildly. And just look, they have three necklaces and everything is simply strewn about. And then there's vinyl, but I'm sure all the most interesting expensive ones they've already pulled out from here with all sorts of more or less famous bands. Yes. Well, by the way, look at this mug. It's not bad. It's not even broken. It's a porcelain one, but we'll have to find a match for it. Oh. There's a similar one over there from this set, but unfortunately it's already broken. The newspaper didn't save it. Oh yes. Even ducks are for sale. So that's how I showed you all these boxes, friends. I think now you have an idea, but as you've seen, people really love this stuff. So there will always be a demand for it. And when it comes to removal, of course, it depends on whether you're involved or not. Generally, if you're doing it from home, naturally, you keep the best stuff for yourself to sell elsewhere for a higher price. As for the rest, you have a choice, of course, between throwing it away for the trash or bringing it here and making a profit. Not a lot, but still a profit. That's probably why they make money and why they keep doing it. It's a beautiful watch. I think one of my subscribers even asked me about one, but he never responded. Oh, so yes, friends, if you have something interesting you'd like to buy from England, from antique fairs or flea markets, or if you see something, you can email me, message me on Telegram, or message me on Instagram. But it's best if you're specifically looking for something for your collection, and send me photos of what you're looking for, and then I'll have a look at the flea market, or that if I come across it, I can immediately send you photos and an approximate price on Instagram. For example, in China. Yes, more boxes of costume jewelry. As I already said, there's a lot of costume jewelry. And lately it's been generating quite a lot of interest among my subscribers. A collection of scissors, but to be honest, they're not even antique. They might be 20, 30 years old, but not exactly collector's items, I'd say. So we have all sorts of pens here. Look, there's something there. The seller, not the seller, is tapping something, checking something. So what do we have here? Another hairless Athos. This time we have Athos. Look, if people collected these Royal Dun mugs, they would have already picked out 2 musketeers today. So I don't see anything here that really caught my eye, but then again, when taking pictures, as I already said, I often miss a lot of things because I'm concentrating on taking pictures. So be sure to write in the comments, let me know if I've missed anything, so it doesn't happen again. Next time, man. So old cameras. What do we have here in terms of trusts? Yes, I hope this season. I hope I gotta finally find a walking stick with a built-in lighter to add to my collection. I've been hunting for one for 2 years now. So, old cell phones. I guess that's what you could call them. Mobile phones. Here we have some kind of... for some kind of sports game. Okay, and look here, it's quite interesting. There are some really, really old coins here. We even have some dug up buttons, look. 25 pounds with this really ancient one. A cast iron. And these little bags with 10 coins in each. And he's asking £3 for a bag or 2 bags for £5. Again, you could also make something like a mystery box with coins. It would probably have more, of course, by weight. For example, half a kilo of coins. And then for a certain price, again, just an idea. So let me know in the comments what kind of boxes you'd like to make. For now, our priority is probably watches and jewelry with brooches. But maybe someone will be interested in coins too. So look here, what a simple old bicycle. Of course it needs to be repaired, fixed, but if someone has their own workshop, I think it wouldn't be difficult to get it up to par. Here, and here, all the watches are £2. And the saleswoman said if you buy it enough, she'll even give you a discount. So,
Don't mix it up.
look here, both modern ones and a couple of old ones, I think.
No, mów szybciutko, bo ja mam tu ludzi pełno.
Yes, our saleswoman is from
No,
Poland.
właśnie od ciebie nie odbierane. Myślałam, że to ty. A to ja nie wiedziałam.
Look, there are a women's and men's small. And large, whatever. Yes, like these, for example, on the leather strap, they look quite old. So if you're up for it next time, I should break this whole bunch together and put it up for sale at the Schulde. But then again, I haven't figured out where to sell it yet, so please let me know where it would be easier for you to buy. On Telegram or somewhere else, I don't know, maybe on some other platforms, but it will be like selling on eBay. It will be, of course, more expensive because you have to pay specifically for the fact that you're posting an ad to the ad. So, right back together, let's come up with something. Okay, the seller has some models here. And look, he has badges too.
I can't believe how many they've done. Though. It's something they I've never seen.
Let's take a look. We have badges and medals there. Look, there are even Irish coins.
They were at the time. 3 quid each, 2 for a fiver in that box.
Okay, cool.
Oh,
The seller said that
plus badges.
each coin or badge here is worth £3, or 2 for 5. Well, that's a pretty high price tag, I'll tell you. Considering there's nothing special there. And here he has purely English ones. Yeah, his album has more interesting coins that are modern 50p coins collectibles. He has some of those in little boxes. Well, there are watches. All sorts of cards, even cassettes wrapped up. Okay, another album. Here we have, as I understand it, postcards, but here too, I think the most valuable thing is the stamps. The old stamps that are glued to these postcards. Look, we have 1978, 1967, even some Olympic ones, judging by the postcards. Yeah, it's a pretty good album. Something rare. Anyone who knows their stamps might have seen it there. Okay, look at that. Brooch. It might or might not be a brooch. Let's... Okay, it's not the first time I've come across a peeing boy like this. Okay, I still haven't figured out what it's for. Okay, here we have badges. GTO badge. And here are some mother of pearl caviar spoons. If they were also silver, of course, they'd be just what we need. Here we have ceramics, glass. But that fruit bowl caught my eye, but I think one of its legs is broken off. Look how beautiful it is. But yes, you see, unfortunately, one leg is broken off. Yes, it stands on 3. Okay, here we clearly have a seamstress displaying their wares, lots of fabrics. All sorts of stuff. And I know those sellers, by the way. They're a family of sorts, kind of like hippies.
Shout Hotels, Trenton.
They sell all sorts of weird stuff, mostly Indian stuff. Continent watch, I think it says. The brand. Oh, photographs of buses, spools. Look, these ceramic guys too. I assume they're for hanging on the wall. Yes, we have this vessel. It's for shaving. We kept soap in it. You could wet this brush with soapy water and shave. Of course, no one uses it anymore, but it might even come in handy for someone's interior. So coins. No silver coins, the ones we're looking for either, unfortunately. Look at these brooches, spiders. Spiders and butterflies. A very popular theme in brooches, by the way. What gorgeous Cadillacs we have. Some kind of framed cards. Guys, that was an opening of the flea market. Now the best part. Let's have a look what I pick up today. Well, here are our finds today. Quite unusual. Of course, I agree, guys. Okay, let's start with a lighter. Look, I snagged this orb for 10 pounds. An orb lighter. It's an English one. Quite old. And I need to research what airwork means. It's clearly some kind of company. Even, look, there's some kind of engraving. Albania, perhaps. I don't know why it says Albania if the lighter itself is English. But the mechanism is in perfect condition. Really, really cool. I don't have any other lighter with this mechanism in my collection, so when I saw it, I didn't think twice. The seller, by the way, didn't agree to negotiate, so the price was 10 for 10, so I took it. Also, I snagged, look, this medal. I think I also paid 10 pounds for it. 1917. October Revolution. Glory to the Great October. This is the medal on this kind of plastic. I don't know where it was hung. If anyone knows, please leave a comment. But it's definitely there. Yes, it's attached here with double such to this plastic piece. It's clearly removable. It'll go in my collection of Soviet things. So, the teapot, friends. The teapot is silver plated. But the reason I picked it up, and by the way, I only picked it up for 10 pounds, I think, if I'm not mistaken. Look, all the hallmarks are here. Oh, it caught my eye. Even though it's silver plated. See this number, 100. That means 100 grams of silver was used to silver plate this teapot. So even though the teapot is silver plated, it clearly doesn't have 100 grams of silver left in it, of course, because it's pretty worn. But I think there's definitely still about 85-90 grams left in it. So let's say, roughly speaking, there's 100 grams of silver in this teapot. If anyone needs it. And here's a medal, as you can see, the Bulgarian flag. A medal like this. Sofia Forestry, Forested Ira City. There's no year or anything either. But clearly someone graduated from the Forest University in our capital, Bulgaria, and received a medal like this. So if anyone's interested, we'll have all this for sale on our Telegram channel, friends. Well, that's how it is. This is how the season opens. Be sure to tell us in the comments which finds you liked the most today. Guys, I think it was a pretty good season opening. Let me know about the finds. If you liked something, maybe I should have picked up something else. But hey, weather is finally, sun is shining, so flea market season is opened. Stay tuned, and I'll see you all next Friday. And as always, I wish you all to find your treasure.